Hello again. Welcome to another edition of the Small Caps podcast. I'm Peter Capsanis. Well, while the availability of credit, online shopping and electronic banking might be second nature to many of us across Australia, it's not so much a common concept in nearby nations. For example, during the pandemic in the Philippines, more than half of adult Filipinos shopped online for the first time. Just think about that. More than half of adult Filipinos shopped online for the first time. Parallel to that, approximately 70% of the nation's population remains unbanked or can't access traditional financial service providers. For ASX-listed Peppermint Innovation Limited, that's ASX code PIL, filling this banking gap with digital-based offerings is a compelling opportunity. The company has been rolling out many of its digital platforms in the Philippines for some time. And to tell us more, I'm joined by Managing Director and CEO, Chris Kain. Chris, good to have your company.
Hi, Peter. How are you, mate?
I'm very well. We finally got there. Look, give us a quick snapshot of Peppermint's history. When the company listed, what's your mission, what's the company's why, and a quick overview of your proprietary built Peppermint platform. It's quite unique, isn't it?
Look, it is, for sure. And Peppermint Innovation was really born on the first trip I ever did to the Philippines, which was back in March 2014. I was up there. I was having a look at quite an antiquated mobile banking platform, actually, that provided white label banking services to a couple of major tier one banks in the Philippines. On that trip, however, I was introduced to the concept of microfinance. I went to a village. I spoke with a microfinance institution and understood this concept of lending money to a huge population of Filipinos that live outside of the banking sector as we know it. It's a huge population of, some 70 plus million people of the 110 plus million population of the Philippines operate outside of the banking infrastructure, which is quite foreign to some Australians. And there was a real opportunity to point the business towards serving the unbanked and the underbanked of the Filipino population and building upon the footprint that this rudimentary mobile banking white label service is providing. I saw an opportunity. I saw value in the team up there. The Filipino people are fantastic to work with. There was an opportunity to capture the team, capture what was the proprietary tech then, wrap that up and put that into an ASX company from where I could provide funding, or where I could raise funding to help support the growth of that business. That's what we did. That was December 2015 that we went onto the ASX boards. And we've been on a journey really with our mantra being financial inclusion. So providing financial services to those that need them where they need them, at the time they need them, as opposed to them having to go and access those financial services, which aren't always available across the some 7,000 islands in the Philippines. So our platform is delivered via a mobile app. It's focused on the unbanked and underbanked, and it's focused on providing financial inclusion. So that's basic financial services that allows people to move from a subsistence level and hopefully improve their quality of life.
Yeah, okay. So it's quite a unique space. Why have you targeted the Philippines?
Well, as I say, I was introduced to the team and the platform up there that was already running in a small way, and I saw a real opportunity to focus on the much, much larger population. The other interesting thing about the Philippines is that our platform is delivered digitally. It's delivered via a mobile app, and all the stats, particularly common to ASEAN countries, is there's more mobile phones than people in the country. There's not a bank on every street corner. There's such a geographical spread that a way to deliver these services via a mobile app. And indeed, the Philippines as a nation were one of the very, very first to actually adopt a mobile banking culture. So a couple of the key people in my team, still with me from way back in 2014, he worked on the very first mobile banking app, which I think was the very first in the world, way back in 2004. So they're well versed in this space. So that's really the fundamentals.
All right. Well, while we're talking, Chris, I'll get you to just move in closer to the screen as well, so your voice doesn't drop out. So the platform is underpinned by a couple of revenue streams, one being the BizMo loan and the electronic money issuer license. Can you explain into more detail how those streams work and how they, I guess, go hand in hand with the whole, the underpinning of the platform?
Yeah, look, absolutely. So BizMo Loan is our brand name for the loan products that we offer. So Peppermint Finance Incorporated is a finance lending business licensed by the SEC and funds. Our brand name is BizMo Loan. We operate by providing loans in the non-bank space. So our loans are to the Filipino people and to micro and small to medium enterprises, which range up to 12 months in length. We operate, as I say, in that non-bank space and lending in that non-bank space. That's one key revenue stream. And the way we generate revenue is like any lending business. We generate revenue from interest charged on money lent, and also for the admin and charges that are applied to loans. In terms of the electronic money issuer license, that is an entity, Peppermint bizmoto Incorporated, is our licensed entity, which was granted or awarded by the Central Bank of the Philippines, the BSP, an electronic money issuer license. The electronic money issuer license allows us to run a digital wallet, which is the centerpiece of our proprietary technology, the bizmoto platform. And the digital wallet allows people to put money onto that wallet and then to use that wallet as a transactional wallet. Now, a way to think about that is a little bit like a transactional bank account. We don't pay interest on that, but if people want to pay a bill from that wallet, they can. If people want to buy mobile airtime, they can. If people want to transfer money to another person, they can. All centered around wallet. However, what's really, really key is that we are awarded that license and we continue to abide by the regulations and the governance requirements from the Central Bank of the Philippines to run that license on behalf of those that want to use our wallet as a payments platform.
Okay, let's hone in a bit more on the BizMo Loan product. How big is the consumer finance market in the Philippines, which allows you to offer that BizMo Loan service? And how fast is it growing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the last 12 months, about 12 months to April 23, the total lending market in the Philippines grew by just over 10%. And the value in Aussie dollar terms is circa 330 billion Australian dollars.
Say that again?
Sorry?
Say that figure again. That was quite quite a whopping figure.
It is 320 billion Australian dollars is the size currently of the lending market in the Philippines. Now, the advantage we have as a non-bank lending company is that we're able to provide alternate sources of finance for borrowers who might not meet the stringent needs and requirements of the banks. And indeed, the Central Bank of the Philippines, the BSP, says that 41 or up to 47% of the Filipino people borrow money. So that's a large base for a population of 110 million people. And it really is undeniable, and particularly brought on by the COVID situation, pandemic across the world, that the future of lending is digital. So people don't go into branches anymore to borrow. They like to borrow and access funds via their mobile app. And that's exactly what BizMo Loan allows people to do. They can apply for a loan through the bizmoto app, and then they can be paid a loan into a wallet through the bizmoto app.
So you've also entered into agreement with MASS-SPECC. First of all, what is it, and when do you start rolling that out?
MASS-SPECC is what we refer to as a cooperative, and those people that grew up on farms or grew up in the country in Australia will understand what a cooperative is. It's a group of members. It's not for profit, and effectively it's to provide the members of that cooperative either buying power or services that they can't usually access. MASS-SPECC is based in Mindanao. Mindanao is the second largest island of the 7,000 in the Philippines. It has a population of about 25 or 26 million people. So the size of Australia, effectively across this one island. What MASS-SPECC are doing is they provide services to their members who are regional and rural focused. They provide services to their members who need potentially to receive grants from the government, for instance, for agricultural inputs, who need to receive pay into their into their wallets or into their pockets effectively, that allow them to buy inputs to the businesses that they're providing. So what we're doing with MASS-SPECC is it is based around our electronic money wallet, our EMI license, where we are providing MASS-SPECC a white label mobile app that allows them to deliver services, a whole range of services, to their members via what they call the Pinot Co-op app, which effectively is powered by bizmoto, powered by Peppermint, built on bizmoto. So it's a white label offering. Every time they perform a transaction, so every time a member of MASS-SPECC gets money put into their wallet, for instance, every time they want to pay a bill, every time they want to transfer money to their mum or their dad or whoever the case may be, every time they'd like to buy some mobile airtime, every time they want to lodge an insurance claim or receive an insurance claim, it goes through the wallet. And that wallet effectively is our wallet, and that's the electronic money issuer licensed wallet. So every time a transaction is performed, it goes across our platform as we provide the front end and the back end, and we earn a fee of circa 10 cents per Australian. So each click equates to about 10 cents Australian. Now, across the MASS-SPECC member base, there's 1.6 million members. So you don't have to think too long and hard about how often, if a MASS-SPECC member does 4 transactions a month, how quickly that revenue base can build up for us. Where we stand at the moment is our aim is to be delivering this project and actually going live into production on this project in December of this year. So we're not that far away. And we look forward to very quickly building and working with MASS-SPECC and getting to as many of those 1.6 million members and providing this mobile app service as soon as possible.
All right. So you've got the consumer financial market ticked off through the bizmoto loan application and via the app. You've got your first EMI license signed with MASS-SPECC. You've also ticked another feather in your cap with a certification from the central bank in the Philippines, I believe. What's the significance of that?
Yeah, so we received 2 key certifications from the Central Bank of the Philippines, or the BSP as it's referred to in the Philippines, and that was a certificate of eligibility and the operator of payment system. So bearing in mind, to receive these certifications, we had to be an entity. So Peppermint Bizmoto Inc. received these certifications. Fundamentally, what it means is an operator of payment systems is it allows us to operate directly in the payments market and the digital payments market. You know, the goal of the BSP is to have 50% of all payments operating through the digital space by the end of 2023. Currently, they're doing about 2 billion transactions of a total 5 billion transactions digital. Now, that's a huge jump from 5 or 6 years ago when 90% of transactions were all cash-based and only 10% were digital. Now, that's been brought on by COVID and the pandemic, but it's also been brought on by the central bank and their philosophy and their transformation to drive people into a digital sense. Why are they trying to do this is because they get visibility into the transactions. They get visibility. So every transaction we do, we keep a record of for a set period of time. And we're a licensed entity that allows us to do that. So an operator of payment systems allows us to operate directly in that space. And to put some numbers around that, the value of the digital payment sector over the course of last year stood at about 40%, or about $120 billion Australian, of a circa $300 billion market. So it's growing. There's still another 10% that the central bank wants to get to. And an operator of payment systems and our certification within that area allows us to operate directly in that space via our bizmoto platform.
I guess inadvertently, I would say inadvertently, you're sort of helping reduce the cash market space, you could say.
We're reducing, we're moving cash to digital for sure. We're ticking a box in terms of removing the black market and the grey market, so people are getting a fairer service, that is for sure. And the most important thing is it's on our vision for financial inclusion. So that vision now is a part of the central bank's vision and always has been, and it's now called digital financial inclusion. But that's where we are, because across the globe in developing world countries, financial inclusion improves living standards. And that's really what these developing world countries are all pushing for. It's a hand up rather than a hand out. And that's the concept of providing digital financial inclusion. So we're very much in that wheelhouse. And the next certification we received was a certificate of eligibility, or a COE, which came from the central bank as well. So a COE, what that allows us to do, again, that's contingent on us having our EMI, but it allows us to get direct membership with the central bank or the BSP's clearinghouses called PaySoNet and InstaPay. So that means that's akin to, here in Australia, we've got the National Payments Platform. So it's same day or next day transfer of funds from any bank account to any member of that clearinghouse. So we will have a digital wallet that's a direct member of PaySoNet and InstaPay. That means from our wallet, we can either send or receive money to any bank account or any other electronic money issuer wallet, licensed wallet, that's a part of that clearinghouse. And again, this is the thrust of the central bank, to try and bring Filipinos into the digital space. So move away from the cash economy where there's lots of leakage. I mean, anywhere from 10 to 15% is lost out of a cash economy, which is not accounted for. So, and again, in terms of value and volume, it's quite a growing market. The market grew in the last 12 months by some 30%. To circa value of transactions total to be 220 billion Australian dollars. It's quite phenomenal, and there's a real push towards it now, because the Central Bank of the Philippines wants to achieve 70% of Filipino population to be in the formal financial structure. And what they call the formal financial structure doesn't mean they have to have a bank account, but they need to be operating with a regulated entity, of which we are one. We are classified as a non-bank financial institution with the Central Bank of the Philippines.
Yeah, so you are filling that gap for people who don't have a bank account for whatever reason that might be. You are playing I guess, an important role in being that conduit. So Philippines is your focus for now, Chris. Are there any other markets on the horizon? Is Australia on the horizon, or is it more? Does it have to be contingent on a fairly robust population?
So the Philippines as a market is more than big enough for us to just focus on 100%. Our entities are licensed in the Philippines by the regulators in the Philippines, and that's where we're licensed to lend money, and that's where we will lend money. That's where we're licensed to provide digital financial services via our wallet, and that's what we will do. However, the way that we look to expand to other markets is by engaging with those Filipinos that are working offshore. So we can do that before they decide to work offshore. Now, just to put that in context, there's some 13 million Filipinos working offshore. That's half the population of Australia are working in other countries across the globe. So we can engage in them in such a way that they can operate when they're in the Philippines on the bizmoto platform. They can continue to engage with the bizmoto platform when they're offshore. So that's really the way that we'll operate and move into other territories and so forth. And that, if we can tap that market, is quite a mammoth market. Just to give you an understanding of the size of that market, the second largest component of GDP for the Philippines is the funds that overseas Filipino workers send back to the country. So they send a lot of money into the country, which is great for the people. And again, it allows us to tap into that market with our Philippine-focused platform.
Chris, before we wrap up, I guess fintech companies can be a little bit hard to value sometimes, depending on their technology. So, how would you describe, I guess, the significance of your technology in association with the value of the EMI license moving forward? I mean, I guess I guess you would say that the boundaries are endless.
Correct. I would. You're quite right. It's very hard, particularly with people here in Australia and the Australian population, where we just take banking for granted and access to banks for granted. It's very hard for people to get their mind around the sector that we're operating in. But to give you an understanding, these electronic money issuer licensed wallets and platforms are well established and well used across the whole of the ASEAN region. Drilling into the Philippines, the largest, the most successful electronic money issuer licensed wallet and platform is a platform called GCash. Now, that's a private company. It's yet to go public, but the last capital round they did, or capital funding they raised $300 million back in November 2021. and that valued the business at circa $2 billion US. So that gives you an understanding of where they go, and they continue to grow. In terms of another company that was sold, fundamentally a platform similar to ours without the lending company, however, so a platform just with an EMI license attached, that sold in April of 2022 for $200 million US. And that was all around the fact that the license was there, the electronic money issuer license. So we sit here with a market cap of circa $30 million, and we know that from our two key assets, there's a significant upside to what we can deliver on our valuation.
Also, what I'm hearing, there's plenty of growth and plenty of opportunity, and you're here to stay. You're not going away in a hurry. Chris, look, it's
Correct.
been a fascinating insight. You're right. I guess it is quite hard for, Australian people to get their heads and wrap their heads around something like this, given the fact that the availability of credit and I guess the opportunity to have a bank account and your net banking, etc., are easily available and readily available. So you're definitely filling in, you're providing an important service and filling in that gap there in the Philippines. And look, we'll definitely be watching keenly with interest, and hope to speak to you again, and hopefully can share with us some more insights in the near future. But in the meantime, thanks for joining us on the Small Caps podcast today.
Thank you, Peter.